Change takes courage. Ethel Gardner can help you take that first step. Welcome to Ethel Gardner for another amazing conversation today, chatting a little bit about what actually happens at the Kennedy Austin Center. You have people that come in from all walks of life. You have people that come in from places of loss, places of homelessness, mental illness. What do you do? How do you do an intake on somebody who's just struggling with so many aspects of life?
First of all, what you do is you make people feel comfortable. That's the very first thing that you have to do. You make them feel that they're in the right place. Because a lot of times when people come to the Kennedy Austin Foundation, they've been to other venues, they've been to other organizations, other companies, other institutes. You make them feel extremely comfortable with being there and with being in that place where they can feel open to talk with you freely and honestly. So what I like to do is have an atmosphere so people feel extremely comfortable. That's vitally important before people open up to tell you anything.
What are some of the things you do to kind of make that happen?
It's your body language, eye contact. Again, when people come in there, they don't care what you say, they watch what you do. And they watch all the people that's around you. They watch what's on your walls. They watch what you listen to. They kind of observe who you are as a person before they decide if they want to be involved. If they see a lot of abstract things on the walls or maybe things that they don't understand, it's sort of difficult for people to engage. When people walk in there, they're in a lot of pain, and they want to see somebody there that can identify with that pain.
And who is that person?
That's me.
Identifying with the pain. Everybody's pain is different. People are coming from different places, and what do you do to help them identify, to connect with them?
That's the first thing you do, is to connect. That connection means when a person is sitting directly across from you, it's vitally important for that person to know that you feel them. You feel that pain, you could see it. You don't necessarily always address the pain immediately. You give the person an opportunity to talk about themselves. And they'll eventually merge into the pain or what they've been through or what they want to talk about. But again, making that person feel, I know exactly where you are, I've been in that seat, and it's okay. Those are the elements that has to happen before anything else can manifest.
Not everybody wants to talk. I'm sure you come across people who are bottled up, who are just guarded.
Yeah.
How do you engage those people?
Sometimes you engage them by giving them a book, a magazine. I like to give people journals for the first time. Here's a journal, you want to write some things down. Maybe you have questions for me, or you want to try to journal some things out that you want to talk about, things that's a priority to you. It all depends. You have some people that are wired so hard that you have to think outside the box. You have to give them a task. They're not just going to come and open up to you and talk about anything. So you give them a task. It's like, this is one of my books. Would you like to read it? You know, you can find out about who I am, or here's a journal. Let's write about what you want to talk about. And that's like an open door, because that person becomes important. And that's exactly what they need to know. Am I important? Do I matter?
I interviewed a couple of your daughters and your granddaughter at inside your offices, and it's a light, airy, open space.
Yes.
It's the walls are filled with all kinds of interesting things.
Sure.
It felt very comfortable for me, and I didn't come in there from a place of trauma. So you have a person that comes in that's homeless, for instance. They want to know, how are they going to be okay? So how is a person that's coming in from any place of trauma, how are they going to be okay with the Kennedy Austin Foundation?
By feeling that they're not going to be judged. That is a huge factor. Homelessness, you know, they come in there, they have the clothes on that they've worn for a month, or, you know, you look at their shoes. You look at these people with an eye of humanity. They're human beings. It's not about where they are as far as homelessness. You're still human. You still matter. And I think to come in there as a homeless person, you treat that person with as much dignity and respect as you do if the mayor of the city came into that space. And people know when it's genuine.
Let's get back to the journaling a little bit. Your story, we've talked about it in previous episodes. Journaling is a big thing for you.
Yes.
It was a powerful tool for you. When you tell somebody to journal and they've never really journaled before, how does your experience encourage them to put the pen to paper and write those first words?
You give them an opportunity and an option. If maybe they can't spell, draw pictures. Whatever that thing is in your mind and in your heart, just draw pictures. Draw flowers, draw whatever it is that you feel that you want to talk about. So you don't minimize by saying you have to use a journal to write words. Use your journal to paint a picture. Whatever that picture is inside of you, use it. And that's the canvas that people could use to open up. And journaling is very powerful. It opens us up in so many dimensions. And then you go, oh, okay, I could do this. Mm-hmm.
Do those pictures turn into words?
Absolutely, every time. Every picture has a specific meaning, every picture. And sometimes I'll say, don't forget to write the date and time. Don't forget to write the date and time. And they go, it's in my head. And they'll write it. I mean, it's like, it's there, it's present. You just give them an opportunity to write it down, jot it down, or draw it out. But it's all there. And all people are looking for is permission. Just give me permission to be me, to do what I do, to draw art, to express myself in poetry. That's all it is.
Being yourself, that's something that a lot of people coming from a really trauma-informed place have a hard time with.
Yes.
Being yourself, being open to who you are. How does journaling open that up? How does journaling give them that sense of authenticity?
It shows you it's okay to be you. It's okay to be by yourself, to be with yourself, to engage yourself. Journaling will give you an opportunity to self-discover. A lot of times when you are dealing with trauma, it's buried deep, deep, deep inside, and it takes journaling or writing or drawing or speaking to get to it. And so one of the things that you have to do, again, is to allow them that platform to get deep in there to bring it out. bring it in the open. To really be your authentic self, to learn how to say what I like, what I don't like, to move out of your own way. I just learned that a couple of weeks ago after we had the documentary. I had to get out of my own way. I started allowing fear and anxiety to get back in. And I go, no, it's okay to be me. It's okay to be my authentic self. And that's exactly what I teach people when they come through those doors.
You teach a class on journaling at the foundation. Have you ever seen that oh wow moment as people are journaling and writing? Tell me about one of them.
I think I had a lady to come in one day, and she was a faithful, committed volunteer. And I used to say to her, why don't you try to come into the class every now? Oh, I don't need that. I've never been through that. I don't have those issues. Okay. So one day, and she was so present. She was just a faithful, committed person. And she would set up our tea and our cupcakes, and after that, she'd leave. Well, one day she came, and I said, why don't you just stay? 5 minutes, just stay. And I gave her a journal and a pen, and she sat there. And all of a sudden, I saw her writing. And then she wrote, and I saw tears. And I saw this person emerge from her. And I'll never forget, at the end of our group, we always have a session where we go around and we talk about our experiences with journaling, our experiences, what we wrote, why we wrote certain things. And it was her turn. And I remember her sitting there, and she was quiet and very stoic and very shocked. And she said, I had no idea that the whole time that I was coming here to serve you guys, I needed something in my life. And I pushed it away, so far away from me. But when you put that journal in my hand that day, I came alive. And I had never, ever heard her story. She never left. She's still there. It's been 5 years. She's still there. But she got healed from serving us tea and coffee, cupcakes, to putting a journal in her hand. And she's still there right now. And she went back to apologize to her children for being hardwired. It wasn't that she was mean. It was that she had so many childhood issues, and she didn't think that they were important. And she never talked about it. Journaling gave her a voice.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
She's
awesome.
still with me right now. She get on my nerve a lot, but she's still there.
That's exciting.
Absolutely.
That's exciting. So in your class on journaling, it's got to be a challenge to get people to open up like the way this volunteer did.
Sure.
How do you give them that nudge? How do you give them that push?
You give them a opportunity. It's like an atmosphere. It's like playing beautiful music, and your heart hears the music, and your foot wants to pat, because you hear the music. Journaling and coming to classes is like that. It's like this euphoric feeling. I know I need it. Maybe I don't want it, but I know I need it. And you can hear the sound of, I'm here. I'm going to utilize this platform, this space, to find out what's really going on with me. Because nobody made you come, you came on your own. So utilize the time and space, and that's exactly what I have done to create an atmosphere so that you can feel comfortable about yourself.
A safe space.
A safe space, yes.
So the students or the clients, students, guests that are taking the journaling class, they're there because they want to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there any resistance ever? People that are there voluntarily, do you ever encounter resistance from people?
Oh, absolutely. You encounter resistance all the time because I think sometimes people, they are so bombarded with fear. And fear is a deal breaker. Fear will make you walk out when you know you need to be here. And so that I have encountered a lot. And not only that, sometimes people will self-sabotage because if I tell this, or if I do this, or if I let this come out, then what? Would I be accepted? Will my family judge me? So you have those kind of things that goes on when you're saying, be open to write or to do whatever. There's also something that goes on with that person. If I do this, would I be accepted? And that is one of the major issues that people don't stay around. They will not. That's a huge battle right there.
How do you overcome that battle with them?
The way I overcome that battle with them is to make them as comfortable and to feel as important as a person. Your story matter, you matter. Whether you tell it or not, you're wearing it. So you might as well tell it. Like we talked about in some of the episodes, what you're running from, you're running with it. And sometimes we have to turn and deal with ourselves. And sometimes it's the hardest thing to do is to deal with self. People can tell you about yourself, and you go, oh yeah, okay. But when we have that conversation with ourselves, it's difficult. So that's one of the reasons you have to be very clear and let people know it's okay. It's really okay. Because you may not want to be in this journaling class, but your behavior is showing what's really going on inside of you. So have a seat.
Let's go back into your story a little bit. When was the first time you journaled?
I remember that house Robert took a picture of when I was a little girl. It used to be a train that ran through our neighborhood, and you could hear the train before you saw the train. And there was a light, like in the middle of the night, and this light was on the train to see the train tracks. And I remember the fear. I used to be so fearful. And there was a matchbox. I don't know if my parents smoked, I don't remember. But there was a matchbox. And I picked up the matchbox, and I was looking for a crayon. And I start writing on a matchbox. I must have been 5 years old. And I wrote, I'm so scared. I'm so afraid. And the next day, when I looked at the matchbox, it was written in a red crayon, but that's exactly the magnitude of fear that I had inside of me. And that's when I first started writing. And I would write on pieces of paper, on anything. I would just write and write and write. So it started when I was a very little girl, and I remember that train on the train tracks. The light gave me an opportunity to see the matchbox and the crayon, and I just started writing from there, and I never stopped.
And you still journal today?
Absolutely, every day.
Every day.
Yes,
That is awesome.
every day.
So we've talked a lot about adults coming into your journaling class.
Sure.
What about the youngsters that come in? You deal with a lot of families. There's obviously a lot of youth and adolescents that come for help. How can journaling help them? That's a tough time in a kid's life.
It's a tough time, but it's also a rewarding time to give them an opportunity to say, I care about you. I'm not going to ask you what your problems are, but I'm going to help you by presenting this journal, this coloring book, this opportunity for you. And it's very rewarding. It gives children a sense of somebody cares about my fears or my anxieties or what I'm going through. And it's very powerful to see children transform. Once you empower them to know that there's something, there's a journal, there's a coloring book, and not only that, we don't give them or project on them what I want you to write. No. Write what you want to write. What you're feeling. What are you going through? It's very powerful.
Teenagers are a difficult lot, no matter. What do? You encourage the teenagers to journal? How do you deal with that teenage angst in the journaling?
It's vitally important because, we say teenager and we use that age. Some of these kids are teenagers, but they're small children. They have not grown into that teenage space. Wherever trauma has hit is where that child stopped growing. That child could be 18 years old in age, but 5 years old. In his mental and emotional and psychological space. And sometimes giving them a coloring book, it opens up their world. It's like it revolutionized giving them tools to talk about things. And so the teenagers you see, sometimes they act goofy, sometimes they have terrible behavioral problems. We always want to deal with the behavior. We always want to deal with that behavior. What's behind it? Empower them, give them a journal, give them something so that we can find out what's going on. And then we could deal with the behavior. But that's what I try to do in our classes. Don't always look at the behavior. There's something more going on that we are not paying attention to. And guess what? If they get in trouble for their behavior and it gets your attention, they're going to do it every time. Every single time. If that gets your attention, that's where I'm going with this whole thing.
So we talk a lot about behavior, and behaviors are huge. Sure. But why aren't parents identifying these behaviors? Why isn't the mom, the dad, why isn't the caregiver, why aren't they pinpointing those behaviors and trying to find a solution?
I honestly believe parents have a great deal of pressure and stress and anxiety dealing with children, dealing with society, dealing with all the things going on in the world. I don't think parents have the capacity sometime to deal with as much as they do. As a parent myself, as a single parent, there were times I didn't want to know what was going on because I was so self-absorbed with stuff. I couldn't take any more in. And I think that these parents nowadays, just like we said about the children, some of these parents have even grown up. They act just like children. So kids go to their parents and the behavior of the parent is like a child. So you have two children fighting for their rights because nobody asked these parents what they felt. Sometimes these parents had children before they were ready to have kids. So they grow up with the child. And these children want a parent, but instead they have a friend. They have a friend, absolutely.
They just don't know how to.
And they don't know. It's not that they don't want to, they just don't know.
So a parent in that situation, immature, young, how do you give them permission to be a parent to their children?
You have to first show people where they are, because some of them, they just don't know. And you say sometimes in our classes, in our meetings, do you know that you just got on his level? They go, what? He's cussing and screaming and you went right there. You're on that level. And they're never going to stop because it got your attention to take you there. And so sometimes you have to put that mirror in front of them to let them see. You're acting just like that. You're mimicking that. And the parent will say, how do I break through that? You have to grow up. You have to embrace where your broken pieces were so you can grow out of it. And everybody goes up.
The parents that come in particular the parents, they're dealing with a lot. And as the Crown of Courage progresses, we're going to talk it more in detail. But mental health is something that is hugely important. It's when you and I were younger and growing up, mental health was kind of had a stigma to it. It was you didn't talk about it. If you were depressed, you didn't tell anybody. If you were anxious, you sucked it up and you moved on. How things are different now. How do you address that? How do you let parents know that their issues are real and they can work through them?
You have to make people feel comfortable with themselves, and you have to let people know it's okay to not feel okay. We don't always have to feel 100. We don't always have to feel like we can conquer the world. We have days that we don't even want to get out of bed. But you have to let people know it's okay for you to feel that, experience that. See, we're so preoccupied with everybody being their best and everybody always have to be 100. No, it's okay to say, I'm not okay. I'm not feeling well. I'm experiencing these things. And I think that society has done us a great disservice by thinking everybody should be okay all the time, and we're not. So we feel like outcasts. Who's going to care? Who's going to believe us? Are we crazy? Are they going to put us on medication? So we bury it. We bury those things. We bury those feelings because we think that we have to live up to other people's expectations. You don't. But you have to let them know that it's okay to feel it. Your feelings are real. You validate that. And it makes all the difference in the world. You're not feeling okay today? I was feeling like that yesterday. Let's talk about it. It opens it up. It opens up the portal so you can get an opportunity to talk about it.
So talk is powerful. Words. The person that doesn't want to talk, the person that doesn't want to journal, the person that doesn't want to interact, but is there. They're there for a reason.
That's right.
They're there because they know they need help. But they shut down. What do?
You let them keep coming. Don't bother them. Don't pressure them. Don't make them feel isolated or unwanted or rejected. That's what they come from. In spite of them ever picking up a journal or ever speaking or never talking, just let them come. Just let them be a part of something because they're watching. They're watching. And I think it's important for us as people to invite others in like that. And it's okay if you don't want to talk, if you don't want to journal, if you don't want to express yourself. Just be there. Be present in the moment. It's okay. Yeah.
Love them into submission.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The client that comes in that has got multifaceted problems. They're dealing with homelessness or addiction or mental illness or all of the above. That's got to be a special case. How do you welcome that person who's just filled with anxiety and dread? You make them feel they're present. You make them feel welcome.
Sure.
How do you greet that person?
With love. Pure love, pure acceptance. They're already going through so much in their own head. They're already going through so much in their own physical body. But when you approach a person with genuine love, they feel it, they know it. Like if a person genuinely does not like you, they don't have to walk up to you and say, I don't like you. You feel it. You also feel the other side of absolute love and acceptance. And once they feel that, it gives them an opportunity to feel like some sort of normacy in their lives. Okay, I can address issues now, or I can't. But at least there's a platform for them to feel something. They're accepted. And that's extremely important, especially in our culture, in our generation, in our world.
How do people find the Kennedy Austin Foundation?
Most of the people that comes through those doors is word of mouth. You got to go over there. It's word of mouth. They do look at the website. We have a food bank that people come every Wednesday. We set up the food bank, and they come and get food. And it's this person will tell that person, and they go, you got to go down there. Just go down there and sit. Go volunteer. Just go there. So a lot of it is word of mouth. They come in, and when they get there, it's like, sometimes you can't make them leave. It's like, we're leaving. It's 4 o'clock. They're still there. And they come back, and they come back, and they come back. And all of a sudden, you look around. It's been 6 months. They're still there. They find something to do, be it volunteering, answering the phone, doing our website, whatever. Sweeping the floor, taking out the trash. It doesn't matter. They found a safe place. And they come to that safe place because they could be their authentic self. And that is something that we have just created. And it starts with my attitude, my behavior, how I entreat people. It starts with the head. And it trickles down, and people feel it. I'm a touchy-feely person. And I always want to, with COVID, sometimes I go, oh, I can't touch that. But that's just my personality. And people look at me and they're like, I said, the person that you see is the same person I am at home. That's just my personality. I just love people. Sometimes too much.
Can you ever really love too much?
No, I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Especially in this day
No,
and age.
absolutely.
The world
Absolutely.
needs more of that.
Yeah.
So, Kennedy Austin Foundation, aside from classes on journaling, what else do you offer to help people get through and thrive?
We offer, first, grief and loss because of the loss of my son. Anger management, because people are very angry, and we call this anger management piece, know your triggers, know your triggers. Domestic violence survivors, for women that have been through domestic violence, anger management, parenting, and mental health. Every single solitary thing that I have been through personally, I incorporated it into the Kennedy Austin Foundation because that's what made me a whole person. I couldn't just go to grief and loss. There were so many issues that I had with anger, parenting, mental health, the whole thing. So Kennedy Austin is just a byproduct of me.
A wonderful byproduct. A wonderful byproduct.
Yeah, hopefully.
So, in the coming episodes, we're going to talk about some of those areas, but the person that comes into the foundation, do they take one class at a time? Can they take more than one? How do you work with people?
Sometimes I ask people to just take one class at a time because you don't want to overwhelm them. And if you overwhelm people that are already overwhelmed inside of their soul, they'll quit. People self-sabotage. They'll look for excuses to give up, to quit, to not come back. So you don't give them big, huge tasks. Just one small task at a time, like courage. One courageous act at a time. So I encourage them to take one class at a time. What are you going through now? You want to take parenting first? And there's no order. You don't have to have a sequence. You could take a parenting now, and you can take domestic violence later, or anger management, or mental health, so you give them an opportunity to see where they are. Put them in that slot. And after that, then they can go anywhere they want to make up that whole pie.
You talk a little bit about self-sabotage. You have some of that in your story.
Yes.
I look at you now, and I'm sure everybody at Kennedy Austin Foundation looks at you now and thinks, where? Mm-hmm. You had a problem with alcohol. Mm-hmm. You let it consume you.
Yeah.
How did you get out of that? How did you stop self-sabotaging?
The only way that I stop self-sabotaging, is to discover that I was a real human being, that I was important, that I mattered. You can self-sabotage when you don't feel that your life matters anything. in any category, anywhere. I had to tell myself that I mattered, that I was important, that I was a real person, a real human being. I wasn't born to lose. That's what gave me the power to stop the behavior. Again, people always dealt with my behavior, but behind the behavior, I wanted to die. Nobody knew I wanted to die. I was just afraid to commit suicide because I knew what it was like to have a mother that wasn't there, and I never wanted my children to feel that. But absolutely, self-sabotaging is when you don't feel alive. You don't feel like you matter. You don't feel like you're a person. But once you start engaging yourself, investing in yourself, asking yourself pertinent questions, you can stop behaviors. It'll stop. And that's exactly what I had to do. I had to turn and actually deal with myself. I had to make myself know I was important, that I was not just put here for people to abuse me. I had a voice, I had a life, and that's what stopped a lot of the behavior right there. And it works every time. It's very powerful.
So COVID has changed a lot of things for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
How has it affected the Kennedy Austin Foundation?
It has had a great adverse effect on us because people are very afraid to come out. So we're Zooming everywhere. And you find that with the Kennedy Austin Foundation, the people that we serve, they're more hands-on. They don't like to be behind a screen. It's not up close and personal. So it has had a great adverse effect on us, but we continue to follow up with them through phone calls, through different messages, through emails. We always send out an e-blast to let them know we're thinking of them, it's going to be okay, we're going to get started pretty soon, and it keeps them connected, and it also gives them hope.
Your toy drive just before Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. The turnout was fantastic. The volume of people that were coming to get the toys was incredible, and that was a COVID-safe drive-by, and it's wonderful to see that kind of turnout even during all of this.
Hello again.
So tell me a little bit about what's going on here today.
So today is our 10th annual toy drive. And because of COVID, we're having a drive-up, drive-through toy drive. Normally we have it at a clubhouse where they have Santa Claus, they have food, they have popcorn, they have everything. But we wanted to do it here and to make sure that our community got service today, and we didn't want to stop it because of the donations that we got. So that's one of the reasons that you see it out here, just a drive-up, drive-through.
That's incredible. And where did the toys come from?
The toys came from different entities, Pomona Police Department, Senator Connie Leyva, Supervisor Hilda Solis, and private donors. They came from all over.
And the people that are here with the toy drive, they're driving up to pick up toys for their children?
Most of those people are my in-laws, my daughters, my nieces, my nephews, my granddaughters. They're all volunteers to come and help make a joyful noise today for our community.
That is awesome. And,
Yes.
and people that are receiving the toys, where are they from?
Most of the people are here from the Tri-City, Pomona, Claremont, and Laverne. And so when we send out the flyer, we try to make sure that we get those cities first. But everybody's welcome. We don't discriminate. We don't care where you're from. You don't have to show any ID. We give whoever come, get toys. And that's how we've been doing it for years.
That is awesome.
Right? So we've been doing this, we give back to the community at large, we help the disadvantaged children, their moms. My mother has adopted people who live in hotels, and we have special their names on bags, and we give them additional toys and things like that. So it's just a beautiful thing at large. It helps the city, it helps the families, and plus not only that, it's for us, we get to give back, and it's a beautiful thing.
Okay, so this is my favorite event. Every year we do the annual toy drive. And so initially the toy drive was canceled, but my mother being who she is, she's going to serve the community. She made her way out of nowhere. So that's when we came up with the toy drive, the drive-through toy drive, so we can continue to service the community.
the people that you serve are hugely blessed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure that, I'm sure they, knowing you and working with you and working with the foundation, I see tons of success for these people, for your clients. So we're getting ready to start the official season 2 of The Crown of Courage. Looking forward to a few episodes ahead, talking about some kind of pinpoint specific issues. We talked a little bit today about journaling. Tell me a little bit about what else Kennedy Austin does. What are some of the other practical things that you do to help people?
Again, we give out food every Wednesday, really wholesome, nutritious food. We have people that donate the food to us, and we give that out. We give out gift bags. We give out backpacks. We give out homeless bags. They are just packed with everything a homeless person would need in these bags. We also, again, we give out journals. We give out shoes. We've had LeBron James to donate all of these shoes to us. And so we're sweatshirts, T-shirts, toiletries, you name it, our office is full. And we just give out all of these products to people so we can keep them engaged and let them know we care about not only your mental health, but your physical health. And sometimes you need to be a blessing to people. People need to receive something from you. I mean, we got beautiful bags right now that we're giving out for, I think March is National Women's Month or something like that. We put these beautiful bags together to give these out to women. So Kennedy Austin is not only a family crisis intervention center, but we give out to the whole body, the whole person. And that's really, really rewarding. It makes people feel so vitally important to live, that you're a human being, that people care about you. They care about how you know, your hair, your lipstick, the way you look, your shirt, your shoes. And so we have, we've decided that we're going to take care of the whole person. And because of that, the donations that come in there, we're able to absolutely give everything.
So a few weeks ago, we had an amazing opportunity to sit down and talk at length about your story.
Sure.
That's Legacy, the Ethel Gardner story. And then not too long ago, we had a wonderful public screening.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about the event.
I thought it was so fantastic. At first, I was a little fearful with COVID going on and everything. I didn't invite a lot of people. I thought it went so well. I was so happy. I was so full of joy. It was almost like part of that puzzle of my life was coming together. I could fit those pieces in. And it was something that I had saw in my life many, many years ago. And to be in it, walking in it, was absolutely amazing. And I think I couldn't stop smiling. I was just like, it was almost overwhelming to be in that space and in that place where it was happening. And so it was just absolutely amazing.
And your daughters and your grandchildren were there.
They were there,
And it
yeah.
was,
I made them dance.
It was quite
And sing.
an experience. Yes, it was an amazing experience. To be a part of it is not only an honor, but I'm, looking forward to what Legacy holds in the future. Other people's stories that, dovetail off of yours, or stories that impact people's lives. And I think that Legacy kind of has that. It's a great kickoff to what we hope to start. So season 2 is coming up of The Crown of Courage. We're looking forward to speaking to Ethel about mental health treatment, about substance abuse, about anger management. There's a lot of practical stuff that people can do to find that safe place, to get that authentic voice. There's a lot of stuff that's just, there's a lot of good material that people can dovetail off of. This show can bring somebody.
Yes.
What do you hope to bring to Crown of Courage for season 2?
Revelation knowledge is powerful. That is the most powerful entity that we could really give people. Revelation knowledge of who you are And I think that with the Crown of Courage and with the Ethel Gardner legacy, that's exactly. We are literally hitting our goal. We are literally, purposefully where we're supposed to be in this season, and it is making a huge impact. We are doing exactly what we're supposed to do.
I'm excited to start season 2 coming up. We'll be addressing anger management, talking a little more about journaling, and we will hear from Ethel and possibly some guests.
Yes.
So, looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Ethel. It was wonderful talking to you again.
Thank you so much.
Season 2 is ahead.
I can't wait.
Me either.